Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to episode number 8 in our Bedrock Realm series. We are starting something new today, something I hope to do regularly going forward, and that's we're going to do the Bedrock Realm Tour series, and we are going to start today by showing off the creations of Waylander. His base is named Waylandia, and he has taken some time to give me a tour around and show me some of his builds and give me some of the inspiration that he's gotten for him so that we can give some credit for that. But I wanted to start our little tour here in the Nether Hub. This Nether Hub, I've mentioned it before, but it was built by Silence, who's another player that plays on our Bedrock Realm. Everybody that plays on the Realm is just a personal friend of mine, so we don't. Currently, I'm the only one that makes YouTube videos, but I have a lot of really creative people and a lot of really dedicated Minecraft players that I thought it might be nice to show off some of the stuff that they have done with their permission, of course. So let's get started by taking a look down here. The tunnels in the hub are separated based on colors, which I think is a really, I almost killed myself there, really unique way to do it. So there's, Sai has separated it so that there is a redstone tunnel, there is a gold tunnel, which is the one that I reside in primarily, there is a copper tunnel, and then there's an iron tunnel. And Waylander has his base down the iron tunnel, and he's not very far down it. This is his section that he has decorated pretty well. There's a entrance to the railway terminals, so he has a railway station that goes to other parts of the Nether to get to other people's different places, and I think that's a really cool way to do it. I like that we're utilizing different forms of transport because we have all the tunnels are horse safe, so you can ride horses through the Nether Hub. You can obviously fly through the Nether Hub with a little bit of difficulty, as I have shown. And you can ride the railway station to get around to different places. We're really starting to get things fleshed out, and I like that. So this is Waylandia. Let's go through his portal, and we will take a look at the things that he wanted us to see. So the very first thing that we pointed out was this portal. So the portal itself is designed by, and I may mispronounce some of these names, but I will provide links to videos in the description when I upload the video, but it's ADIecraft, ADIE Craft. He designed this portal design with the Blackstone helix. I really think it's a unique way to point out the portal, and I always think the portal into your base is sort of like an anchor point, and so if you do one that looks really nice, it is really helpful to tie a base together. So I think that was a really good choice, and Waylander said he had a lot of fun building it. Next thing we're going to do is head this way. One of the first things that Waylander built, as far as a decorative thing, is this wizard's tower over here. This is based on a design from Pixel Riffs. And Waylander said he had tweaked a few things with roofs and some of the block choices, but it's pretty much the same design, and I really like it. We'll get a couple better views of it in a minute here, but I like having nice big tall structures that stand out, really make a build seem more immersive for me. So I like that. I think it's really cool. Trying to think of the way we need to go next. We have down this way, I think it's past the wizard's tower. There is, yes it is. This is the wood farm that he has been working on for the past couple of weeks. And this one has a couple of different credits that we need to do. One was Cajoling Graph 22 is the one who designed the tutorial that he followed to build this, and then in the description from Cajoling Graph is the original designer, and I do not know his name off the top of my head, but I will have both of them credited in the description so you can see the original work that went into it. But Waylander has painstakingly been recreating this and tweaking it for our particular realm so that he has an automatic wood farm going here. And now let me see if I can demonstrate this. It's been a minute since I was over here to use it, but as far as I remember, you just grab whichever sapling you want to grow, and it works for all these different sapling types. Turn on appropriate switch if farming cherry or oak. Okay. I'm not, so I don't think I need to turn on any different switches. But if I did, this is the cherry one. So the different parts of this farm, cherry trees, there's a certain type of growth where they grow, because they grow kind of like acacia trees, where they have like a strange way of sticking branches out that, as far as I understand, it'll grow blocks in a spot that breaks some of the pistons or something. And so you have to turn this on so it puts some blocks out up at the top that prevent that from happening. And then there's a similar thing with the oak trees. I think it might have to do with limiting the height, but I'm not sure, where you can turn this on and it sets the farm up to run that. And so since we have changed all those things, I'm going to let it go for a minute, and then I'm going to run a manual cycle just to cycle the farm to get it all reset back to its normal positions before we go anywhere else. Okay, so then what you do is you come over here and you just plant the sapling, you stand back so that the pistons don't get you, and it should grow. Do I not have the farm on? Or do I not have bone meal in here? No, I have bone meal in here. Let me just take a look. Might just be because everything was being reset. So let's go in here, grab a sapling again. Let's try this one more time. Okay, I may need to ask Waylander how to turn things on. So I'm not going to be able to demonstrate how it works. Okay. This is a pretty complex farm, but the idea is that it grows the trees, and then the pistons in here push the trees all down this row. Those trees get pushed down a piston ribbon that pushes them down this way, whichever tree type you get. And then over here, they get pushed into a block, and they get pushed as they get pushed out. Once it fills up an entire row, this entire wall of pistons pushes the block over, and then you can keep going until you have a big cube of wood that you can stand here and reach up and mine using your high efficiency axe. And then this is underneath the carpet. There's all these hoppers which lead into the storage over here, which collects all your different wood that you've been farming. Oh yeah, now it's going. Maybe it just took some time to power cycle everything. Try it again. Not quite sure. Okay, that's fine. We're not here to show off this. We'll do a tour of this when it's more complete. Waylander said he has some plans to finish getting a few more. I think there's a few more components that need to go in to make it work. He might be finished with that, but he's planning on building a tower around it. But he wanted to let people see just how much redstone goes into a project like this. And I've done some of these before. They're pretty intense. A lot of things that can go wrong. A lot of things you have to put in just right to make everything work. So let's move on to our next part of the tour. We have, I apologize, I'm switching back and forth between our list of things that we're touring, but I was kind of hoping to do this all in one take just to make it seem more like a tour. We'll see how it goes. Next, we're going to head this way back to where we were on the path. And we have the storage room up here. This is a little bedroom Waylander designed. I like it. I particularly like his choices of block colors on the floor. And anyone who is an old school Minecrafter knows why. Because in Java, the longest time, anytime that there was a image missing in the texture pack, this magenta and black symbol was representative of item not found. And so every time I look at his carpet, it makes me think of that. But I like how he did a little bit of a bedroom in here, but with viewing windows so you can see out to all the different areas in the build in Waylandia here. And then there's also roof access. So from up here, you can see out to where the portal is, over to the Wizard's Tower. over to the castle, which we will get to in a minute, and then over in this direction. And he's kind of laying everything out so that there's several ways to expand, which I think is really smart, because as you start adding things, you end up needing more and more space for your base build, and so that's a very good way to do things. So if we come back down here, make sure to close the doors. There is a stairwell that goes down here. This goes to a main storeroom area, and this is designed for storage with a sorter that uses pretty standard sorting technique that I'm sure a lot of people are familiar with, where there is a filter for each item up top here, and it filters out one item in each row, and then those items get put into the appropriate chest. And so if you put items in the input chest here, once you let it go, since it's a trap chest, it'll start pulling those items out, and then you can see after a couple minutes they'll start filtering into the correct chest. And so it's a great way to sort out your inventory if you have lots of items that you are collecting. And so he has this divided up so that it's all the basic resources you get from mining and things like that, and then some of the slabs. And then if we come down, I think that the way down is next to the ender chest here, and we go to the lower level, there is more items. So he's adding more storage to it as he goes, and then this room is for storage for any items that are not yet sorted out by the system. So I think that's a good way to do it, especially when you're starting out, you're not sure what you want to sort. It's expandable, so you can keep adding to it, and you can definitely add more and more as you go. So let's go back up. So this storage room is pretty much just a bunch of techniques that, you know, everybody uses, but Waylander designed the whole thing himself. Pretty cool. This is his smelter room here that he has automatic lava creation down here at the bottom, and then you can pick up the lava to put it into the furnaces to smelt items. Pretty fancy way to do things. Go up to the third floor. Oh no, I already showed the third floor. The piston door here I particularly like. It's just hooked up to a manual switch, so Waylander said he usually leaves it open, but you can close the door if you want to keep things out. I particularly like that design for a piston door. Next thing we have on our list is our wool farm in here. Waylander designed this, so the sheep are up top. When they eat the grass, the observer detects it. The dispensers shear the sheep, and then the wool ends up down here in storage. Oop. Oh my goodness, I just messed up all of his carpets. Don't tell him I did that. I'm sure that he will see I did that when he watches this video back. All good. Okay, so then all the different colors of sheep are represented in here, and they automatically collect wool. This was very instrumental when I was building my hot air balloon. I did a trade for access to the sheep to get wool, and then right before I was done with the hot air balloon, I filled up. So now I have a chalker box of each type of wool for my next project, which is really helpful. But it's a great little farm. It really is powerful for the size of it, and gives you all the wool you probably ever need. Let me see if I can go up to his third floor here so I can get a bed. That way we can get rid of this rain. Okay. Then we'll go back down and continue on the tour. The next thing we're going to check out is his honey farm, which is this direction. So he has a couple different components here in his honey farm. So over here it collects honeycomb. Over here it collects honey bottles, which you can use to make honey blocks. Pretty simple design, but really powerful. The bees go out and collect nectar from the flowers, and then they come back and deposit honey, and it automatically collects the honey for you so that you don't have to go through and empty out the hives. And it uses comparators to detect when they're ready. Pretty cool stuff. This is also one that Waylander put together himself, and I like it. This is a little gate design here that Waylander put together using some pretty cool redstone. The cobblestone walls, or these are deep slate walls, when you have them end, they have this little piece, but then when you put one back in, it connects them. So when you use the piston here to open the gate, it makes it have an opening in the fence. When you put it back up, fence forms back into a wall. I really like that. I think it's a pretty neat idea. This down here is just a couple of small things he does. This is for his concrete, to make concrete powder into concrete. And then this is a stone generator system to collect large amounts of stone. This, I think this design was by Silent Whisperer, and this one might have been JC Plays. Yes, that's what it was. I'll link them as well too. They're two really good YouTubers for Bedrock if you want to just see general designs for things as well. So I definitely want to give them a little bit of credit. I use them quite a bit just to learn techniques before I come up with my own designs for my builds. Sometimes I actually use their builds directly because you can improve upon some things. Here we go. This is the iron farm. Waylander built this one. Has villagers down underneath that make it so that a golem spawns. When the golem spawn, they get pushed into the lava and the campfire. Iron and poppies are collected. Pretty standard iron farm design. Iron farms have gotten pretty simple nowadays compared to what they once were, but this is a nice little power horse for when you have a base that you're in quite a bit. It just pumps out the iron and gives you tons of it. I guess he must have just cleared it out, but it does give you quite a bit of iron just passively while you're playing. This is a little manual tree farm area that he was using before he built the automatic farm he's working on now. And then this bridge is to an area that I think is a secret. He has not told me what he's going to be building over here, but I know he has plans. So let's come down here. There's one more thing. I didn't note this in my list. I remember we talked about it, but I forgot to write it down. This is a little turtle farm. Turtles down here, when you feed them, they breed, and then the turtles make their way up here to lay their eggs, and then they get down here, and then they can get out of here when there is a large amount of them. Once you have more than just a few, they kind of stack up, they get pushed up out of the water, and then they work their way through here out into the water. So you don't end up with overcrowding, but you always have turtles here ready to be bred and to get turtle eggs and other turtle items, which is pretty cool. Very simple design that works really well, and I like that a lot. So I guess down here is how you get down to get the things. Pretty cool. Let's go back this way. We're gonna take one more section to go look at a really big build that Waylander worked on for quite a bit of time, and I think came out really well. So let's go over here. We go this direction. I think the best way to get there is to go through the honey farm. And we get over here, and we're heading over to the castle. This is Waylander's castle. That is really cool. I think there's so much detail to it. This is from a tutorial for a castle build from Daxar123 builds. Waylander changed the roofs up some, and he changed a lot of block choices, but he said 90% of this castle design is straight from the tutorial. And so it has nice big section out here where you can build around it. And if you go through into the inside, there's a big area in the middle that has a lot of space for decorating and personalizing. And then there is tower access in each of these towers to get up so that you can get to the top. I got rain once again. Always rain when you're trying to record. But so I particularly like the way that these towers all worked out to just kind of accentuate how, you know, the whole area, and that it's like a kingdom over here, the kingdom of Waylandia. I like that a lot. Let me head over to the center again, where Waylander's little bedroom area is. And we'll sleep off the rain if we can. We're gonna go up to the roof. We can get one more overview, and then we have one last thing to show, and then we'll be finished with our tour here at Waylandia. So one thing I particularly like that Waylander did really well is that he has spaced things out so that when you're at different parts of the build, the castle and the wizard's tower are kind of the edges of it, and like they're just on that edge of fog. The Minecraft fog kind of gives this this immersion feeling that like everything is off in the distance on the horizon, and I think he did a really good job spacing this out so that when you're at the castle, the wizard's tower is kind of right on the edge of that fog, and vice versa when you're over here. The castle is also right on the edge of that fog. I think that was a really good technique to use. And from up here, you can kind of see everything laid out. And I think he did a great job of fitting everything into the space he had. I'm excited to see what he adds going into the future. Down here, we have a bridge that was built by Primus, another one of our players here. And it's a very long bridge that they're still working on, doing some decorating and things. But this goes, I think it's 500 blocks all the way over to where Primus is building a very big build. And once I talk to him and get permission to do a tour there, he may be the next person we do a tour of for the Bedrock server tour series. So I hope you enjoyed seeing some of the builds that other people put on the server. If you want to see more, let me know and give us some feedback and let us know what you think. But I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.